Drescher. This will be, I'm imagining this as being from a unit on Latin American literature. So it'd be in translation from the Spanish. I did this lesson, I think, for like a 9th or 10th level class. And this would be the first kind of like 10 minutes from our discussion of the genre of magic realism. So to begin, I'm going to hand you guys out some examples, and then I just want you to read through them quickly. You don't spend too much time on them. And once you get done, you can jot out something here, or we're going to talk about it. So you don't need to worry too much about getting all that down. Just some rough thoughts. So, if anything, what did you notice different between the two passages? How would you kind of categorize the differences between the two?
The second one it seemed like more poetic than the first one.
Mm-hmm. And where do you see that?
Like the line, the world had been sad since Tuesday. That just seems so, like such a big statement and kind of, I don't know.
Anything else? Anything else jump out at you as, really indicative of what that second passage is all about?
Like the nice glimmer of like powdered light, that it became a stew of mud. Like it's not a stew, but
I'd like to point you to the final line. What you have there is well, as the title of the passage would say, a very old man with enormous wings. Now, as you can see, I've labeled them as realism and magic realism. The top passage is realism, the bottom passage is magic realism. And from the example, can you see some of the differences between the two? That the first example is just about people. They're from going from breakfast to dinner, talking about pride. It's just real people with real problems. And that's what realism is. It's just writing about people's day-to-day lives. Magic realism, though, looks kind of like realism, but it has that magic element to it. There's a man with wings, an angel, as the text goes on to say. Now, the question is then, and if you can flip to the back of the thing, I'd have you jot down just kind of like a brief definition of it after we can discuss this. And so realism would be the example of the first passage, it's about real life. And then magic realism would be the second passage. And the broader definition is magic realism or magical realism is an aesthetic style or genre of fiction in which magical elements blend with the real world. The story explains these magical elements as real occurrences, presented in the straightforward manner that places the real and the fantastic, the same true of thought. Now, does that sound like any other genre to anyone else? I mean, magic? Okay. Now, that may sound like fantasy, but there's a difference between the two. The difference is that in fantasy, the whole world is kind of fantastical. There's magic, there's just all sorts of elements of the fantastic. But in magic realism, on the surface, it would look just like normal realism. But there's that one element that's out of place, but never explained as being something magic. It's just, there's a man with wings. It's not, they don't make a big deal out of the effect, the reason behind why there's a man with wings there. It's just, there is one. So that's the difference, is that fantasy appears fantastic, while magic realism appears realistic, except for one element. And that element could be anything. In some texts, the narrator can grow very old, just live through generations. Sometimes they have some sort of like magic powers, like telekinesis, or they can read people's minds. Stuff like that. It's just little differences between the real and the magic. Now, in order to help you illustrate this, I thought that we would do Mad Libs, where we think of fantastic elements. For all intents and purposes, the Mad Lib is realistic, but we're going to use elements of fantasy to make it magic realism. And we'll do this one together, and then I have longer ones that we can do by ourselves, just different sorts. And if we had a smart board, like I know we have in the Sierra School Districts, in a lot of classrooms, we would do this on the board together. But we don't have a smart board here. So, who has a name that they would like to use?
Oh, that feels like these fantastical names.
Could be anything.
Tessa.
All right, Tessa.
Okay, well, okay. I'll do that.
That could be the characters in the story.
How about a number? Any number.
6.
6? Your talent ending with ing. So I'm just trying to make it as out there as possible. Just really anything.
I know, that's what's hard, is like
Glowing,
Glowing.
flying,
A glowing word.
glowing.
Your favorite show? Assume it's not a TV show.
like a puppet
No,
show?
puppet. Let's do puppet show. Puppet.
Oh,
Puppet
you
show.
mean like what kind of show?
Yeah, probably a TV show. It's Mad Libs, but we'll try to make it more fantastic than just a TV show. Male famous person.
James Gunn.
There it is. We need another famous person. Let's make this one female. This is two mandated male famous persons.
Maybe Tyler Moore.
There it is. Everybody's just shaping up. Another famous person?
Share.
Cher. Another male famous person? George Clooney. And a noun.
A fantastical noun.
A fantastical noun. Just say magic.
Fairy.
Fairy. Fairy. And what did we get?
I was thinking about fairy.
My name is Tessa. I am 6 years old. While I was walking down the street, I saw agents. I wanted to become famous. I went up to them and started glowing. Glowing toward them. They liked me. They became my agent, and I was on my favorite show, Puppet. And I got to kiss Genghis Khan because he was my love interest. I sang with Mary Tyler Moore. Became friends with Cher, and my boyfriend was George Clooney. This was an fairy life. But you can see the idea here, is that the Mad Lib itself is not, fantastic at all. And doesn't say you could have just
Discovered by agents.
well, yeah, but that's something that consistently happens in the real world. Somebody has to be discovered by somebody if you're going to be famous. So it's not inherently fantastic, but we incorporated elements that made it seem fantastic. You kissed Genghis Khan. You sang with Mary Tyler Moore. These are not things that could necessarily happen in the real world at the same time. And I guess you could kiss Genghis Khan at some point and then sing with Mary Tyler Moore at another point, but not simultaneously. And so by using fantastic elements, we change it from realism to magic realism. Okay. And I have more Mad Libs. These are longer, more involved. And and some involve the Maury show.
Oh, no.
1 minute? Okay, well, these are things that I would have you do.